What is going on, guys? I'm Alex Hale, the Dawgland's draft guru, and we're back once again for a mock draft Monday. Now, this week, we're doing something very different. We are going to show you a scenario which probably isn't plausible, but I wanted to do a what-if scenario. And that question is, what if the Browns took Denzel Ward's successor in Mansour Delane, the LSU corner, at number 6? How would the rest of the draft play out? I know you're going to kill me in the comment section, but hear me out in this scenario. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it. With the number 6 pick in the NFL draft, Browns fans' heads explode as I select Mansour Delane, the cornerback out of LSU. Now, hear me out about this. What do you have besides Denzel Ward and Tyson Campbell? You don't have much else. And the bigger question is, who is Denzel Ward's successor? Which that can happen the next year or so, that we could be looking for his replacement, especially with his concussions. Here's the thing. Delane, after his pro day, running a 4.35 to 4.38, depending on who you ask, he silences all the doubts. He is the top corner in this draft class. He's big, he's physical. He allowed only 14 catches last year and 0 touchdowns. Think about that for a second. The SEC, he did that. Without question, he should be in play in real life. And I'm happy to take him and have my Denzel Ward successor. And he gets to play opposite him to start his career. Boy, that defense looks really nasty. At number 24, we look at the board, and I'm very happy to see the board has fallen the way I'm hoping, and I take Denzel Boston, the wide receiver out of Washington. Now, do I like that he's kind of stood on his 40 time from the combine, didn't run his pro day? Yeah, I'm a little upset about that, but he was not going to be a blazer. He just wasn't. What I am impressed is his shuttle and 3-cone times were very, very good, which show me that he has sudden burst that on those short routes are going to help him create some separation. I do think he's capable of that, but more importantly, this is a receiver the Browns do not have. I think he complements beautifully with Jerry Jeudy and Isaiah Bond and gives you a wide receiver one that you really don't have. And right now I'm looking at this wide receiver group and going like, it's not bad right now. Now I need to get some line help. And at number 39, I am again elated. Now, in real life, do I think this happens? Probably not. I think there is a good chance all the top 7 tackles go in the first round in this draft. But Caleb Lomu's here, and I'll be honest, in real life, I'd be willing to move up to get him. But anyways, let's get into Lomu. Lomu is probably the safe left tackle bet. If you want a guy who has experience on the left side, has the agility to stay there, yes, the arm length is shorter than you'd like, but the athletic scores make me believe he can hold up on the left side. And with his experience, all I see is a guy who can just hold it down the left side, be a solid left tackle. You don't need Joe Thomas every single time. Yes, it's great to have. But the reality is, if you have a guy who's there every week, holding down the left side, that's good enough. And I think I can get that in Caleb Lomu here at 39. At number 70, I kind of have filled those 3 big things I was looking for. Yes, I'm kind of looking for a center too, but I can figure that out later. Now I feel like I can double dip and I go with Zachariah Branch, the wide receiver out of Georgia. Yes, he's undersized, but he's a shifty route runner who is explosive as all get out and has some return experience, which is something I'm valuing a little bit, although I'm not aiming for him to be a returner. I'm aiming for him to be the true slot receiver that the Browns do not have. And one of the things I love about him is, even at his size, he's a tough receiver who can make the catch while getting hit. He has been as good as everyone has said he was going to be at Georgia, and we're all overlooking him because of his size. At 70, I'm going to take him. I have a slot receiver. I have Boston, Judy, Bond, and Branch. The Browns now have a receiving core to work with. At 107, I am so glad that he's fallen here, but Bud Clark, the safety out of TCU, has fallen here. And again, don't know if he's going to do that in real life, but you want to know what? He's on the board. I'm going to take him. This is one of my favorite safeties in the entire class. He has had an outstanding draft process from the Senior Bowl on, where he just makes plays. This is a guy who just makes plays. He's a ball hawk safety who just makes plays. And his athletic score is pretty solid for what he needs to be at to be a safety. And when you have the uncertainty of Ronnie Hickman's future, you need that kind of ball hawking safety to go opposite Grant Delpit as you move forward. And I think here at 107, we're going to get Bud Clark. I'm really excited about it. I got to take him. At number 146, we're going to take Utah's tight end Dalen Bentley. And what a story for this kid coming from Snow College in Utah and moving to the University of Utah. And he had to sit behind Brant Keithy and Dalton Kincaid for all these years until he finally had a starting role this year. 48 catches for over 600 yards. Long wingspan, can make all the catches. He's explosive as a route runner. I think he's going to be a great receiving tight end in the right system, in the right coaching to coach him up. I think he's going to be a steal for somebody because lack of production, people are going to overlook him. The one thing that I'm concerned with is the blocking, but it sounds like Todd Monken's looking for another receiving tight end. Let's go get Dalen Bentley. I love his story. I love how he's overcome all this. Those are the type of guys you need with that athleticism to be on your team. At number 149, this is a guy that you see fluctuating between third round all the way to here, but Matt Gulpin out of Michigan State, the center. And I know Browns fans are going to say you're an idiot for this, but I'll always bet on a guy that played at Michigan or Michigan State and was an interior lineman. More likely than not, they are successful in the NFL because they play in the cold, they're tough, they're just gritty players. Those two colleges always produce them. Zach Zinner, he just never recovered from the leg injury. Let's all be honest here. But Gulpin's a 3-year starter at Michigan State who played against the best of the best of the Big Ten. That cannot be overstated enough. This is a guy with the experience, with the level of production. I'll bet on that every single time. So I'm going to take him here and make him my future starter. At number 206, I'm taking a third wide receiver in this draft, and that's Xavier Thomas out of LSU. Plain simple with him, speed, and more speed. This is the guy who I'm aiming to kind of be my kick returner of the future. And again, it could be Zachariah Branch. But I'm going to take Thomas here, who ran a 4.28 40 at the combine with a 1.52 split. He is a guy who has return experience. He returned 3 touchdowns in his time at LSU. The experience is there. I want you guys to think about Chim Dike over at Tennessee, who was kind of a late round pick, who became an explosive returner for the Titans and then worked his way into the offense. This is kind of what I see Thomas becoming. And for the Browns, you haven't had a returner in God knows how long since Josh Cribbs. I would like to see them address a returner in this draft because that can change the offense too. And last but not least, at 248, I don't think this kid gets past probably the 3rd or 4th round, especially with one of those teams that are looking for a project QB. But Cole Payton out of North Dakota State, this is a converted running back to quarterback who's got about 240 passes in his career, and he was outstanding as a passer at North Dakota State. When you watch him, you think you're watching Tim Tebow. I think he's a far better passer than Tebow ever was. His running style is identical to Tebow. I think whoever gets him, and if it's the Browns, he's a gadget goal line QB to start, as you're developing him. Is the Browns the best place for him? Probably not. I would kind of like to see him with the Rams, with the Eagles. That would be interesting. With Kansas City, something like that where he can be developed. But he's the ultimate wild card of this draft, and he's going to go way higher than people think.